14th is where you have the New Zealand Warriors. They finished 15th last year, but they returned to New Zealand after years, being good blokes and, keeping rugby league alive and taking on, Terrigal and Gosford as their adopted home, but they do go back to New Zealand. I've got him at 14, Mugs 15, so none of us super high on the Warriors.
I think he's got 11.
That was last year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
14, 13, 11.
Yep.
Mugs got a bit higher. They've basically bought a whole new club with all their ins at the moment, so they're big turnover there. They do have a Metcalf, not DK, unfortunately, for them.
Apparently he's pretty handy. So I don't know if he'll get a start straight up, but there is word that he may try to learn from SJ and may even be the successor for when SJ is ready to hang up the boots. I'll bring up their best. Because
we mentioned Chance come across. Dylan Walker maybe.
I thought they were going to use him as a utility. Yeah. Sorry, I should have had this ready to go.
They also have Martin as well, who's fullback for Brisbane.
So this from NRL.
Oh, they've got Martin playing.
They've got Tamare Martin playing 6, who had that crazy recovery from a brain injury.
Played well at fullback for Brisbane last year.
He did. So a few options there that they could go with the spine. Word is that CNK will get that one jersey. Also himself coming back off,
neck.
That horrible neck injury. I look at their backs. It doesn't really bode that strongly. Good pack though. Good pack.
Solid pack. Maybe being able to play in New Zealand a bit more this year, that always helps them.
That's why I went slightly higher.
Yeah, I went a gentleman's 14th for that reason.
Yep.
And I think they've had a big kind of change over in that team, so we'll have to see if it makes a difference and whether Jimmy's uncle can lead them to victory here.
Andrew Webster. Tohu Harris hasn't played a full season since 2016. Anyone that plays NRL's fantasy or super coach knows on his day how much work he gets through. And they also had Mitch Barnett from the Knights and Jackson Ford, who I saw bits of him at the Dragons, and he's looked really good in the trials. I think he will definitely be in their best 17. So with the likes of Adam Fanua-Blake and Juz Tavanga and Josh Curran, it's actually a pretty good pack. I just, not sure on how a new spine will gel, but if CNK can play like he was a few years ago for the Raiders when they were, a six again from being
if
premiers.
Sean Johnson is healthy and at his best, then
that's pretty handy.
It doesn't matter too much who your finishers are out wide, and they'll be in some good spaces. So they should have a solid platform off the back of that good pack. So, again, I think they're a solid side, maybe slightly below average, and that's kind of where we've put them. We've put them in that spot. What did I say it was? 14th? Yes.
NRL.com has their predicted starting lineup looking like this. Chance at 1, Dallin Watin-Zalesniak at 2, Viliami Valia at 3, Adam Pompey, Marcelo Montoya, Tamare Martin, Sean Johnson, and then into the pack of Adam Fanua-Blake, who just quietly is underrated, like one of the best big men in the game. Wade Egan, Mitch Barnett.
It's a huge ad for him.
So big. Josh Curran, Murata Nuakore, he comes over from the Eels, and Tohu Harris, who we just mentioned. If he can stay healthy and play, most of the season, who knows? Yeah,
be interesting to see what role Walker plays as well. As a utility.
Word is he'll have the 14 on his back and can slot in.
Where he slots in when he comes on would be interesting. He's a bit of a that dynamo kind of player. So see if he can recapture his best.
Into the last team that we're previewing today, and last year's best team out of the teams that we've spoken about today, the North Queensland Cowboys. They finished third. They won 17 games under coach Todd Payton, who got extended this week. They're paying $12. I think that's about 4th or 5th, according to the bookies. How's this one last year? I was listening back to our predictions. I believe I said in verbatim, pretty confident they won't make the 8. Lol. India are afraid of the Gabba, etc., etc. Shooters got to shoot their shot. We spoke about a lot of teams where we got it pretty right. No one really expected the Cowboys to play as well as they did last year.
Well, I think what we said before probably about Newcastle was what we thought about the Cowboys last year is they had to have guys, the young fellas, step up and play overs, and they did, and they kind of showed their talent and capability. And maybe, Todd Payton was the right person to be able to pull it out for them, and they're a good squad. Really only lost was Tom Gilbert, and they kind of, I guess, switch it with Tamo coming back. So I couldn't make a decision between whether it would be the Cowboys or Eels that'll fall off this year. So I think I had Eels at 6. So I could very easily switch to the two. Like I could have Eels finish in 3rd and Cowboys be 6, or it'd be the other way. And I feel like of the teams in the top 8, those are the two that could go either way.
I'm sure all of us, because we're going to talk about the Sydney teams next week, have probably got Penrith and the Chooks as 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And again, we talk about tiers. Melbourne always used to be tier 1. You'd probably think they've dropped down into that second tier.
Got to prove they're tier 1.
And then that tier 2 is broad, isn't it? And I think the Cowboys come into that tier 2. With the likes of the Eels, South Sharks. We'll talk about them next week. Can they? Continue their good work from last year. I think it's going to be tough. I think now that there's expectation on them and they played so well last year, I don't see them quite being a top 4 team. I think there's a lot of strong Sydney teams that they're going to have to contend with. I've got them 6th, but like I said, there's not much difference, and like you were saying, not much difference really between 3 and 6, is there?
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of we've covered off the two bases. They could probably finish as high as 3rd if they play. Take another step, keep growing, or the other teams will catch them and they will finish 6th. But they should play a part in finals this year.
And you got them at 5th, just teetering there?
Yeah, just teetering there. I guess they probably played overs last year. Yeah. Also to make 3rd, but can they repeat this year is probably the only question.
Another thing as well, we'll talk about the Dragons next week and the culture being really questioned. This Cowboys culture seems really good. They bring up a lot of people through the Townsville Black Hawks in the Q Cup. They through Tom Dearden and Scott Drinkwater, lifelines essentially to come up there and said, we've got faith in you when other clubs haven't. And they repaid him in spades. Yeah. Drinky I think he was 4th in the Dally M's and missed games. And Tommy Dearden played in a winning Origin series. So blokes that this time last year were kind of looking and going arming and ahhing,
haven't done much.
How's the pairing with Chad Townsend going to go? He's a Sharks and Warriors reject himself.
So that's the question. Are they going to have a regression this year, or can they maintain / take another step forward in pushing potentially to win the comp?
I think they'll be really good. I'd be surprised if they win the comp.
Yeah, so.
Predicted round 1 team: Scotty Drink, Cole Felt, Peter Hiku, Val Holmes, wasn't he good last year? Murray Talangi, also very good. We spoke about the halves pair in Tommy Dearden and Chad Townsend playing overs last year. Into Jordan McLean, Reece Robson, Ruben Cotter, Cohen Hess, probably the best year for any young player in the league last year in Jeremiah Nanai.
Got paid, I think, this week or last week?
I think maybe last week. See if you can chase up something there, mate.
Staying for the Cowboys for the foreseeable future.
And the perennial meter eater and real heart and soul of this team in Jason Taumalolo. Yeah. That wraps up our part 1 rugby league preview. Let us know in the comments if you agree, disagree, any hot takes, any shit town names or interesting town names or bridge names of Tickle Cock or whatever it was. Stoner, Colorado. You just Googling these now, are you?
Yeah. Oh, no, there's a list.
How fitting that Stoner is in Colorado.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go.
Named after Stoner Creek.
Yeah.
But, yeah.